So Friday routine, all our red zone work, practice. Thought we had a good week. Obviously, we're playing for a lot, and the game, the focus is on this game. Any questions?
When it comes to Kareem, does it just come down to usage? Is it opponent specific, or do you just want?
There's probably 3 or 4 things that we look at and communicate, and look. We'll see where it's at.
When will you decide by it? Do you have to make a roster move tomorrow for Sunday night? Is Sunday night different from Monday?
Yeah, we got time till Monday. So there's no.
But I mean for the game on Sunday night.
Yeah, no, I think we're in good shape. So we'll see.
Sean, I was wondering, what has it been like coaching someone like Pat Surtain?
I don't want to say he's quiet, but he's kind of quiet. I can remember he and I were talking yesterday. You're getting older. I started tracking the games we played when his father was playing corner. And, I was a coordinator for a bit. And then, look, he was at the Chiefs when I was in New Orleans for some early years. So there were some games. And then yesterday, at the end of each practice, a player will break us down. And he was the one that I asked him to break us down. And I said, just more than 3 syllables. He's quiet. He works hard. Very respected. He's strong. His personality, he's more quiet, but man, he's right what you're getting, and it's a pleasure to coach him.
With a guy like you talking about Belichick, now he'll really sort of build a plan or run a specific opponent. So does that change how you handle?
Well, let me give you an example. So last night's red zone. And we have all this year, and then we go back to last year and the year before, and you put Cincinnati on and you watch how they play Jamar Chase. Just giving you examples. You put the Raiders on and you watch how they handle. When you're talking now, sometimes they'll double 2. The primary and the secondary. The other thing they do a good job with, and they always have, is they disrupt the timing of your routes if your splits get close to, the elephants. You get close to the line of scrimmage. Those OLBs will, and then they'll drop and play. There's some really difficult things in man that they do. And so there's a ton of examples of some of these things that we're referencing. And look, you would say, we have to be ready then for some other players, in that case. And there's some things you can do if you're getting doubled, that may give the primary a chance. But all the way back to the Super Bowl versus Atlanta.
Sean,
watch that tape.
Sorry.
And there's Julio, and there's the lean, and there's the, all of it was last night.
After the Detroit game, you seem mindful of giving this team rest. You gave them 3 days.
Yeah.
How do you think they?
Well, look, we had 3 games in 13 days, 3 different time zones. When you looked at that stretch, and so I just felt like it was necessary. This has been good. We're healthy for the most part, and I thought the energy this week was good. We have a night game at home, but overall it's good. The week was good.
You mentioned all the bouncing around. How beneficial is it to have 2 home games back to back the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think down the stretch, that's a good thing. And so we got to take advantage of that.
How did you think Jerry responded? Obviously the Chargers game, he was disappointed, but he ended up having a couple big moments in the Lions game.
Yeah, look, and one thing about him, he's extremely smart. Now, he's asked to play a couple different positions. When Mims comes in, then he's playing the F, and so he's one that has to transition back and forth. But, in each of these, like today, red zone periods, or yesterday, third down, there's names on plays, not literally but figuratively, on who we think will be the primary, and he's had a good week. So
Zach Allen said that he had an adjustment period at the start of the year, but do you think he's really starting to find his groove?
Yeah, I think, man, I feel like he's played pretty consistent. I've talked about his stamina before. he can play snap 51 like snap 8, and that's impressive, especially the position he's playing because, if you've ever wrestled, it's tiring. And the closest thing I could compare to what those guys have to do, it's like wrestling, it's tiring, and he's doing well.
Sean,
With a player
if snow's a factor, how does that change what you try to do?
Yeah, I mean, we deal with it. I have snow flurries early. I have 34 degrees, 6-mile-an-hour winds. I think we'll be all right.
with Drew Sanders, you speak of young players and the vision for them. How is the vision for Drew Sanders evolving over the course of this
That's a
year?
good question. He's to get him on the field. He's playing more OLB. If you asked me, how do you see his vision 5 years out? I don't know that I could honestly say OLB or ILB, but I like the fact that he's got that versatility. And I think that will define itself as he gets in. But trying to get him on the field, because we feel like, hey, he's one of our better players. How do we get him on the field? So part of it's that role, but I think it's evolving. And I think he's got pressure traits. He's a good tackler and he can run. And so I'm glad we have him.
Vance was saying the other day, this defense is at its best when they dictate rather than react or respond.
Well,
Do you see that?
look, I think every defense is, and it's a good point he's making, because I think the question had something to do with, when an offense can generate a consistent run game. Now, man, if it's 2nd and 4, every call in the plan is up. If it's 2nd and 8, I got to get back on schedule, and so, yeah, I mean, I obviously staying ahead of the chains. This is a pretty good first down offense. Statistically speaking, they're one of the better first down offenses. So, understanding what they're trying to do, they're close to 50-50 run pass. The ball's coming out quick, receiver screens, quick game. They'll take a shot or two, but he likes the tight ends. So we got to get acclimated as to, how they're playing. But back to the run, when you can have success with that, then you become easier. It's easier for him then and harder for the offensive coach.
You told us that when you get into a football season, it's like getting on an aircraft carrier. Do you allow yourself to think about Christmas? Do you delegate to the family?
I think, in fairness to the question, I just talked about this with the players. Sometimes playing on the road, there's less distractions. One of the challenges of a Super Bowl is, man, the amount of, and a lot of times it's those closest to us, friends and family that just want 8 minutes or. So Thanksgiving's easy in our league because it's on a Thursday. Christmas, I would say now, this falls on as good a day as you could have it fall on, and yet, I feel stress. In other words, I haven't had a chance to, do any shopping, and so we're kind of in the entertainment business, and so when you're in that business, you just have to deal with, that's part of the deal, and so when my kids were younger, we might have been the 23rd Santa came or the 26th, depending on the week. That's part of the deal.
When you talked when you first got hired and got back in about the lights and the racetrack and all that. Obviously a one-seater.
It's great to
would
be
great, but
yeah.
Being in the chase here
It's
was 3
great.
weeks ago. Yeah.
It's great. It's addictive and look, is great as it feels when you win, and that all the things that go into it. It's it's like the opposite when you don't. It's like misery. You can't wait for the next weekend. Let's get to but the big difference is each hour matters. Like right when here production meeting and back to this, each hour matters, and when you're not in that track, there's a handful of things that matter. Maybe 6 hours a week. You know what I mean? It's just that's the thing that you're in it, and it's and that's why it goes fast.
Sean, when you're with the team for the first time, everything's kind of new. You have to see it, right? So you had to win those games. Then you have the tough loss of Houston. You see your team bounce back. Does that make it a little more comforting that you did bounce back?
Look, the one thing I would say is man, and I've told them this, that our resiliency, our, you know, those things that are required in this business. You take any team, pick a team. The 49ers are playing as well as anyone. There was a stretch for them this year. You know, it's coming, Philadelphia. And that's the fine line. You know, there's no 1AA school to play. You know, it's that close, and we've handled that well. All right, thank you
Thanks,
guys.
Coach.
Thanks, Sean.